Right. Good morning. Saturday morning market live. We are going to go through some deals. I'm focusing really on my service areas, which would be Cape Coral, which is where I live and where my office is located, Fort Myers, and Estero. Those are really going to be the areas of focus for us. So let me get a little unprepared this morning, a little bit behind, but that's okay. We're gonna make it happen regardless. Get Google Maps pulled up and the website, of course. So the homes that I've got for you today, again, we're covering those three main areas, and essentially I'm going to show you best overall, in my opinion, best overall deal between the three markets. So between Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and Estero, best overall deal, best value, let's call it. And then we'll look at the best value in each individual market. So the best value in Cape Coral, the best value in Fort Myers, best value in Estero. And we're also going to look at sort of best value in by price range, right? So we're going to look at best value above, let's say, $600,000 purchase price. Okay. So, market it's been interesting. The November numbers came out, and it's not uncommon. And I went back and looked at the data. I'd say I went back to about 2017. And if you go back and look every year and you just kind of watch the trend, I mean, obviously, as we all know, it was about 2018, 2019 until really the peak in 2021 or 2022. We see sort of a steady increase, right? A steady sort of increase in almost like, an exponential increase in price. Again, we're all aware of that fact. But what's interesting is even in that increase, right? So as the line on that graph increases between 2018 and 2021, even inside of that, there are still trends that we can sort of follow. And one thing I noticed is that typically around this time of year, but typically in about January, we will see a relatively significant increase in price. And so I noticed that happened in November. So I'll be curious to see how December goes. But there was, in Cape Coral especially, there was a pretty significant increase in the median sale price between October of 2025 and November of 2025. So I'll be curious to see what happens for December. Of course, I'll bring that information to everyone. But I'm curious to see if that's going to sort of continue, if we're going to see the market to continue to sort of uptick. And I've read some stuff about 2026, about the real estate market in 2026, and some predictions of what might happen or what could happen. And I've sort of seen it both ways, and it's not that I've seen like definitively somebody saying, this is exactly what's going to happen and the market's going to crash, or on the opposite side, this is exactly what's going to happen and the market is going to sort of rebound, which I think that's sort of difficult to visualize, because I think that a lot of folks, when we think of a bounce back or we think of the market coming back, we're thinking of an anomaly, which is that time between 2020 and 2022 when the market was really crazy and inventory was limited and interest rates were historically low. And just I think it's important to just kind of remind everyone that that is not the norm. That's not how the market has been before, and it's sort of, getting everyone away from that like natural that natural sort of human instinctual amnesia, right? Like we sort of have, I don't know if it's a product of our society and culture, or if it's just it's just a part of the human condition and has been forever. But um, we sort of forget how things go or were in the past. And yeah, those years of, one house in the neighborhood goes up and sells really quickly, and then the house right next door, is comparable but lists $20,000 above what that previous house had, and they get what they want, if not more. That's just not normal. That's just not typical. I was originally licensed in 2017, and although I was a complete newbie and trying to figure everything out at that time in 2017, I certainly remember and realized that the market at that time was a lot more. This market is a lot more similar to that market from what I remember of that time. Agents were doing open houses and sort of more of the like organic old school prospecting, the things that you had to do day to day in order to really maintain your book of business. And I think that, same thing, we kind of got away from that in the time when things got a little crazy. But this market reminds me more of that time. So it's not that it's really a downturn, but anyway. So back to what I was saying, I've seen people kind of on either side, and it seems to me like everyone is essentially giving the same information or the same data. They're all going off of the same idea of what's going to happen, but everyone wants to put their own spin on it. So people who, obviously benefit from the market doing better, so to speak, those people are sort of they're sort of making that information, they're sort of twisting it into their narrative of here's the information and here's why 2026 is going to be a booming market. And then on the flip side, the people who, I don't know, and maybe it's not about benefit, but the folks on the other side who seem to have more of a bias or are leaning more toward the market either falling further than it has, or sort of just even a slight downturn. Those people, same thing. They're kind of twisting the information into their narrative of next year's going to be a bad market, right? Or prices are going to drop. I mean, I saw there was an article that came out. I don't remember which media source it was, but it, relatively well known and respected source of information. And somebody came out and said that they thought that we would start to see, 80,000 to 120,000 or $130,000 home prices again. And then I saw one, I think it was CBS News, maybe they had some folks that put together an article and said that they felt like there were select markets. Cape Coral was one of them. Fort Lauderdale was one. Several through the southeast region and Florida. Um, and they said, maybe it could fall roughly 10. I think it was like 10 or 11% more from where it's at now. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Again, I noticed that trend in November. The median sales price clearly increased. I mean, it was like a $30,000 or $40,000 increase. I mean, it wasn't insignificant, and it wasn't sort of a little blip, on the line graph. I mean, it's like when you even visually when you look at the line graph, it's a significant jump. So we'll see what happens with that. But overall, still buyer friendly trends as we're moving into November. Year over year, I think it's important to note year over year that the median prices are down because we have seen sort of, I think, what most people would probably refer to as a correction. We've certainly seen that in these three markets that we're covering this morning: Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and Estero. Estero's year over year down a little over 8%. Cape Coral, pretty much in the same boat, right at around 8%. And then Fort Myers actually has done, I think, has held on the best. Fort Myers is only down just a little over 2%. So, yeah, so I think that there's a lot that could be said about the three markets and sort of that information I just gave you, just in terms of the changes in those markets year over year. So, let's see. Let me move this around real quick. And we will do a screen share. Hopefully, we won't have any technical challenges today. Okay, so I hope you can see that. This is brentonmybach.com, and anyone can use this website to search for homes just like an agent. This is directly tied to the MLS, so you can get in here, you can search for homes just like a real estate agent. You actually have a slight advantage with the website over an agent who is in a specific market. So most agents don't have membership or access to multiple MLSs, and so the MLSs are broken up into different sort of associations which represent areas, right? So every sort of major area has its own realtor association, its own board, and they have their own MLS system. So the nice thing about my website here is that it's connected to all of the MLS systems. So you might have, and I'll give you a real life example for folks who are looking in Punta Gorda and Cape Coral, let's say. Well, most of the listings in Punta Gorda are part of a different MLS than most of the listings in Cape Coral. That's not to say that smart brokers who have access to both systems aren't going to have that listing in both of those MLSs, but you will have brokers, you will have agents who they will only list a property in the MLS in which they have access to according to the board or association that they're a part of. And if they list something, if they live in Punta Gorda, it's not very far between Punta Gorda and Cape Coral, but maybe they live and work in Punta Gorda and they're part of that specific association or board and that MLS, and they don't put something into the Royal Palm Coast or Florida Gulf Coast MLS, and you're not going to see it. So if you're working with an agent who is in the Fort Myers market, that house that's in Punta Gorda, and you're interested in Punta Gorda, they may not see it. So the houses they're sending you, again, they may be missing some things. So this system is linked to all of the MLSs and will show you all of the information regardless of the MLS in which is entered. So that's a benefit. All right, so I'm going to show you first the best overall deal, in my opinion. And it's in Estero. 22854 Forest Ridge Drive in Estero. This listing is courtesy of Downing Fry Realty Incorporated. It's listed at $400,000. It's a single family residence built in 1997. almost 1,700 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It does have an attached garage, 2-car garage, and block construction. I don't know that that's something that we've even covered. When you're buying a home in Florida, if you're coming from up north, it really is important that you get, or you at least consider, the difference between concrete block and wood frame, because there are some pros and cons when you're in Florida if you buy a home that is block versus wood frame. Okay, so let's flip through some photos here. And I'm going to get this property pulled up. Let's look at it on Google Maps. I like to do that. I think that that's a good exercise. So let's see. Okay. So it's right right near Coconut Point, right? I mean, it's right across the street, so very convenient location, certainly, just in terms of shopping and dining and travel, really, because you're right here off of 41. Pretty quickly, you could be in Naples almost in the same amount of time that you could be in downtown Fort Myers. So you're kind of between Fort Myers and Naples. That's one of the good things that's one of the things that people like about Estero, is that it's sort of centrally located between, two sort of major two major areas, two major cities in Florida. All right, so we've got some recreation, the clubhouse, pickleball, and tennis. This is a gated community, as you can see here. Okay, let's look through some photos. Okay, very nice, very quaint house. First thing I notice is the paver driveway. I like pavers. I think that they look nice. They give the house just a little bit more of a upscale look. And also on the stucco, I definitely prefer the trim, right? The white trim out on the stucco. Anyway, landscaping's nice. It's not a huge lot. Okay, so come into the foyer. There's a room here and a room here. Let's see if we can figure out what those are. I mean, relatively grand. You've got the window, the chandelier, double doors, right? Okay, they've skipped out to the patio or the lanai area. It is enclosed. That's nice. That is, those are glass panels, so relatively controlled. Looks like there's probably blinds that come down, some shades. Original kitchen. Appliances, they might be original. They look like they're in good shape, but you don't see, when I sort of look at some of the features here, just looking at the appliances strikes me as maybe being original. The cabinets are certainly original. The countertops, ooh, for that year, I don't know. The countertops almost look like they've been replaced. That granite wasn't necessarily, you don't see it as commonly in this sort of style house. Okay, so you've got some trim work, you've got some chair rail, wallpaper. That's the dining area. This looks like the living area. Okay, so this is right off of the foyer, right off the entrance here. So that's that first room here. Not sure if that's hardwood or some type of synthetic flooring. Um, see if I can tell. No, it looks like it's in planks. So I would say that's either a laminate or see if I can zoom in a little bit. Not sure. That's not helping. Anyway, one thing that makes me feel like it probably is not real hardwood is the fact that this is different. This flooring is different from that flooring. So probably some laminate or vinyl options, and it looks like it's in planks. I think I can kind of see some seams in between the planks. Anyway, a room there. This appears to be the primary bathroom. I would imagine this is the primary because of the dual sink vanity. You've got a tub here, stand-up shower. This is all original tile, original cabinets. Yeah, everything in here is pretty original. So obviously the price of the house is going to reflect some of that. Yeah, this is throwing me off. They did a good job with the pictures because I can't tell if any of this is real hardwood. I'm going to guess that it's not, but I can't say for sure. So here's a secondary bathroom, original. And see, this is what I meant when I said about the granite countertops. This sort of laminate squared edge countertops are a little bit more indicative of a house from this time period, right? Like the mid to late 90s, these ledges, you see a lot of these like ledges, people put decorations and things. So it is definitely like very 1990s. This looks like the main living area. So what we looked at before, that living area that's right off of the entrance, that's going to be probably a formal seating room or a formal dining room that they use as a formal seating room, and then this is your main living room. Yep. Open, right? Open from the kitchen. Very sort of typical Florida layout. So here you get a good idea of the property, where it's at. This is the ocean out here. So you have sort of a northwest rear exposure, some ponds and things, and lots of palm trees, right? You've got lots of the royal palms or king palms, and relatively mature too. The landscaping is because of when this development was put in. So yeah, very nice little spot here. This is the house right here, and this is facing the east. Okay, so here's the clubhouse. Probably some activities and stuff. You've got a fitness center, hot tub, bocce. Ooh. So there's a community pool. There's those pickleball tennis courts. Yeah, so a nice little recreation area, shared area. So all in all, I think this is a good buy. This house is listed at $400,000. It's almost 1,700 square feet. Never flooded in any of the hurricanes. Oh, there we go. I called it. Should have just looked in the description. Updated countertops in the kitchen. New AC in 2024, new roof in 2012. It is a shingle roof. That's fine. 7+ years left on the roof is indicated by a 4-point inspection. Nice. Yeah, this is a really good buy. Estero is a very popular, desirable area. So for $400,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,700 square foot home, yeah, this is the best deal. I mean, that's why this is the best deal. Okay, so let's talk about some other deal. Let's talk about a deal in Cape Coral. So we do a home search, and okay, 122 Southeast 41st Terrace in Cape Coral. This listing is courtesy of Michael Saunders and Company. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, built in 1981, 2-car garage. Okay, it is a block house. That's good. So let's see what the estimated payment is at 5% down. Mm. Oh, I see. I'm like, whoa, that's not looking right. Let's change it to a 30. And honestly, the interest rate, I don't know. 7%'s not terrible, but let's just say 6.7. Okay, monthly payment, almost 2,200. So that's with PMI. So I mean, there's some things. It's not necessarily going to be this high. It kind of depends on the borrower, of course, but it gives you sort of a good idea. All right, let's get into it. So 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, just over 1,300 square feet. We just looked at one a little bit larger, 300 square foot larger in Estero for 400,000. The deal in Estero 400,000. This one's 275. Built in the 80s, block, well, brick in this case. Brick here, probably block here behind the stucco, but potentially brick. Definitely laminate or vinyl flooring here, but it is upgraded, obviously. Not the original flooring. You've got a bay window. These are the old crank windows. So that's something to keep in mind. These are metal frame windows. Probably just worth keeping in the back of your head if you're a buyer, you're buying this house. Probably good to keep in the back of your head that you might want to replace those. They're not going to be. I mean, they're definitely not going to touch modern day sort of efficiency windows in terms of efficiency. Vaulted ceiling, tile. Looks like we might have some upgrades in the kitchen. Not a huge kitchen, but relatively. I kind of like this floor plan. I like this layout. It's not a huge kitchen. I'm sure my wife would disagree with me, but I don't mind this layout. Cabinets are definitely original. Those are some 80s cabinet faces for sure. You can see some of them are maybe a little crooked, there might be a little bit of touch. Honestly, though, what a lot of people will do is they'll just replace the doors, replace the doors. You can see it's got the old style hinges, the old style sort of decorative plate hinges. You swap those out, you put some new doors on, and look, that you can see somebody has these are updated, sort of like modern handles on these cabinet doors, whereas these are definitely the older style. I don't know that they're original. I would have to see them, but that is certainly something you would have seen from the 80s, right? That sort of rounded cabinet handle there. We've got another crank window here. It looks like another metal frame window. You've got backsplash here. This countertop, it looks like granite, but I'm almost certain that's laminate. When you see that rounded edge that then is cut in and squared off on the bottom, that's typically going to be laminate countertop. So something to keep in mind. You've got the all white appliances. This is definitely an older style refrigerator, older style dishwasher. This, the hood, the range hood, looks to be a little bit older, so a little bit dated in the kitchen, maybe. It looks like it's in good shape, though, for the most part, just from what we can see in the photos. Metal transition between the bathroom to the bathroom floor, and here obviously is tile, between what I'm assuming is laminate, maybe vinyl. Another laminate countertop here in the second. This I'm assuming is a secondary bathroom. Again, original cabinet here. The vanity. The toilet is updated. I'm going to guess based on some of the stickers here on the sides, and then, of course, that flushing mechanism being on the top of the lid compared to, a handle on the side. I can't tell if the ceiling fans are updated, maybe. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the bathroom nearest to or off of the primary, if it is a primary suite. I didn't see a good indication as to whether or not it is. Nice screened in patio tile. That's nice. That would be a nice place to sit. You've got a great yard here. This is some type of citrus tree, it looks like. So you've got some fruit trees, good sized yard, some mature trees. Okay, little patio area. I can't tell if that's the neighbor's fence, but it looks like the backyard might be only fenced in by the neighbor's fences, but let's see. I should be able to tell. Let's look it up on Google. But again, this is a good deal in Cape Coral, Florida. And the location really is a big part of why it's a good deal. It is in Southeast Cape, and that is the 33904 zip code. So 33904 is Southeast Cape, all of this, and then you have 33914, which is Southwest Cape. And those are really the two most desirable zip codes. Those are the two highest price points. So you're in a good location here. Maybe fenced. Let's see. Maybe not. Definitely some sort of unique landscaping here. Concrete driveway. That's always nice. Okay, so it's not fenced. Like this side yard is not fenced, but we can assume the property line is probably, see the utility pole there? Probably at the utility pole and then straight down, basically. So there's in this photo, there's a for rent sign here. So it was a rental at some point, or they tried to rent it and decided to sell it. But based on some of the finishes that we see inside, the laminate countertops and things like that, it's safe to assume. And the windows not being upgraded, we can pretty safely say that it was probably a rental. All right, so that's the deal for Cape Coral. Now we're going to look at one in Fort Myers. Bear with me. Okay. Just kind of getting an idea of where it's at. I like this area, sort of like south of, what is that, Gladiolus? Um, let's pull it up on Google Maps. That way I'm not telling you the road names incorrectly. Uh-oh. Lost the screen share. Do this. Okay, now we're back. All right, so I like this area personally. My wife and I have looked at houses in this area. So again, Gladiolus is here. This is Summerlin. We're south of Summerlin. Off of Winkler. Kind of get an idea of where it's at. And this is the house. Okay, so this is 8657 Sumner Avenue, Fort Myers. This listing is courtesy of Keller Williams Realty, Fort Myers, and the Islands. This one is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Looks like it's 2 full baths, 1 half bath, 2,300 square feet, built in 2010. This is in a gated community. And our asking price here is under 400,000, 389.9. And you can just kind of see just by some of these photos, this is going to be looking like it's either updated or been taken care of well. 2-car garage. We've got the paver driveway again. Some mature royal palms in the front. 2 stories. Okay. Formal dining area. Yes. So this is the entryway. Looks like. Enter in through here into like a formal dining area. Yep. So you walk in through the entrance. The formal dining area is sort of right there to your right. The stairs to go upstairs to the second floor on your left. You continue to walk through to the kitchen, which opens up to the living room, I think. We've got updated countertops. Those are granite countertops. I'm going to guess these are the original cabinets, but they are the taller cabinets, probably 36-inch cabinets, stainless steel appliances, a pantry there, I'm guessing. Okay. So we've got a screened-in patio. We do have a water view here. So this is like a large pond or small lake, whatever you want to call it. And we've got a chain link fence. So the yard is fenced in. And let's see, this is north facing. So really that's ideal for this type of sort of back patio setup because the sun is not going to be like really beaming in. It's going to be coming from this direction and then overhead, setting in the west, obviously. So it's going to be pretty shaded, like relaxed, not too hot. Okay, I'm guessing this is upstairs. So this is either, this could be engineered wood. I'm not 100% sure without seeing it in person, but um, I don't know. It looks like it's engineered wood from the photos, but it could be like a laminate or even maybe a ceramic tile floors. But my guess is going to be engineered wood. Okay, good sized bedrooms. Yeah, see when I look at that, and you see how it's got like the grain in it, but it's not real wood. So anyway, that's what makes me think that it's either engineered wood, probably is engineered wood. All right, granite countertops. This is likely the primary because it's a dual sink vanity, original cabinets, tile floor. Okay. So I'm guessing this is one of the secondary bathrooms. Black tile. Okay. Yeah, great house, honestly. Especially for the price, 389.9. Lots of space, right? 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 full, 1 half. The half is probably on the first level. I don't know. It's I don't know that we really got to see into the living room, but let's see. No, I don't think so. So we don't have necessarily a full picture, but I think you've got a clay tile roof, stucco concrete block build, 2-car garage, paver driveway. All in all, I gotta say it's a good deal. Good buy in Fort Myers for sure. All right, let's see, where are we at here? We're at 42 minutes. I want to try to keep these things 20 or 30 minutes, but that's okay. I'm having fun in here by myself. We are going to look at. So I want to do, like I said, I want to do a little bit higher price range just to show a good deal in a higher price range for anyone who might be looking in this price range. This is what I would consider to be a good buy above $600,000. So this house is listed at $850,000. It's 3040 Scarlet Oak Place, North Fort Myers, Florida. This listing is courtesy of Epic Realty Incorporated. Based on the long description, I'm going to assume there are some updates. Repainted in 2024. Okay. All right. Yes. Very lengthy. Nice. Okay, 3 bedrooms. Oh, excuse me. 3 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. 35, a little over 3,500 square feet. $850,000. Photos are kind of okay. Here we go. All right. Let's start from the top. Paver driveway. I like that. Stucco. We've got 3-car garage. Nice landscaping, some mature royal palms. Okay. Let me just check. When did we say this one was built? 2015. Built in 2015. 4 full, baths. Yeah, 2015 build. That's good. Impact glass windows, nice. Okay. All right. 2015 3-car garage. It's safe to assume this is going to be original. These pendant lights might be upgraded. This is definitely upgraded, I would say. Nice backsplash. This is probably like a walk-in pantry. Okay, open. Yeah. Looks like they've got sort of a custom, I guess, mantle. This is the dining room. Okay, yeah. Standalone buffet here. I thought for a second maybe that was built in. Okay, nice. So they've done some stuff to the house. I mean, it's obviously built in 2015, original. Like some of this stuff, like the trim on this wall, this may have actually been a builder package. That they offered some of these things. Looks like plantation shutters on the windows here, carpet in this bedroom. Let's see, that's not the same bedroom, is it? Oh, I think it is. Tray ceiling. Okay, this must be the primary, right? So we've got an entrance to, with 4 bathrooms, I'm sure there's a guest suite, but yeah, this is, I'm guessing, going to be the primary because of the tub. You can see in the mirror, you got a stand-up shower there. Separate vanities. You've got the little, whatever that is, powder, whatever. Yeah, nice size walk-in shower. Laundry room. Shiplap accent wall in this bedroom. This is one of the, oh yeah, here you go. This is your guest suite. I love that. I think it's crucial in Florida. I think you've got to have a guest suite for people. I mean, specifically, I guess if you're not from Florida but you live in Florida, if you're buying in Florida and you have family in other states or friends in other states, you want to have a place for people to come down and visit. Looks like they've got like a little movie thing, theater kind of thing set up here. I don't know if this is the upstairs, maybe. Really like this setup. That's really cool. Let's see. This might be like an entire kind of suite. That's almost what this looks like. Like a true sort of in-law suite, or it's got this additional living area. They've put bunk beds in. They've put like double bunk beds. Very well set up for visits. Maybe it was an Airbnb. I'd have to look into it, but yeah, look at this beautiful pool area. Slide for the kids. Is that what do we have back there? Is that water, or is that just like an illusion? Let's check it out on Google. Yeah, you're really close to the river here. This is the Caloosahatchee River. So let's see. No, okay, so you've just got a road back there. It's just mature landscaping. Western rear exposure. So that means that you are going to get a good amount of sun. Uh-oh, did I click out of it? I think I did. Okay. Oh, there's a wall here. Okay, that's what it is. There's a wall there between your backyard and the road. You've got a little bit of backyard space. Oh, outdoor kitchen. Very nice. This is a bathroom. Yeah, just off the lanai. That's always nice. Yeah, outdoor kitchen. That's great. This is a great lanai area. Yeah, this would be great for entertaining. Mhm. And you've got some community stuff, basketball courts, tennis, pickleball, community sort of building, community center, fitness center. Yeah, this is really nice. This is a great buy. $850,000. Yeah, I think that's a good buy for the amount of space. Awesome. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for me. We're almost an hour in. I got to jump off here. I've got some stuff we've got to do. We've got the Festival of Lights today here in Cape Coral. We will be here if you want to stop by. We will be set up out front of the office. So enjoy the weekend. I will see you all next Saturday for our Saturday morning market live. I think, yeah, next Saturday I'll be on. I think I'm running a 5K, not voluntarily, next Saturday. But yeah, anyway, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining if you watched. I hope this information is helpful. You can reach out to me anytime via YouTube or any of the other social media platforms. You can also call or text me at 239 990 7738. Happy to help if I can. Thank you.